What up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to For the Record. We are 4 Black millennials going through the struggle, and we got a lot of opinions along the way. I'm your host, Erica Green, also known as the Podcast Princess.
I'm Darian Stevenson, fine as wine, Darian with a good heart, light bright, mellow yellow.
You look all of those things right now.
I'm also diet caramel. I have no tan. So
Diet
I'm just out here doing my best.
Diet caramel? She caramel light?
Caramel light. That shit that nobody wants at the grocery store.
Okay.
I think that I am done with my album.
Yay!
Yes.
That's good.
And I am Joe, America's Next Top Model.
Period.
Yes.
You want to be on top?
The girls have been.
Have you been binging that or something, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I actually loved watching America's Next Top Model whenever I was growing up. I've seen every single season, been dedicated, hated and loved too many bitches that don't know me, so throughout my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's funny, but no, rewatching this, that show was toxic. They made them people weigh each other in front of them. Everybody weighed in front of each other. Tyra had these thin-ass eyebrows, and it was just an ugly look for her. Ooh,
girl, I'm telling you, the beginning episodes were problematic. When I'm talking
Tyra
about, they
was kind of the devil.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking for specific types. It was like, if you were not 6'1" and super skinny, you could not be a model. It wasn't until 17 seasons in when they started doing short girls, when they started doing plus size models and stuff like that. The show was super problematic.
Yes, they would shave them girls' head and send them home the next day.
Right.
Bitch, you're gonna take my hair and this opportunity away from me. That shit didn't make sense.
That's why when some of them was crying, I was like, I feel your pain, girl. Because if someone told me I need to now dye one side of my hair blonde and the other side black, fucked up. No.
Right.
I mean, that sounds cute though.
That would look good.
Hers was cute, but okay, more dramatic is some of these girls would have half their head shaved, all their hair shaved, from having long hair to hair up to here. I'm like, that's a drastic change that you're not about to put me through.
It really, people be growing out their hairs for their whole life. How you just gonna take
the show too, it was it was less about you being beautiful or more about this is what we think we could do to make you beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
which is the modeling industry anyway, and sex sales.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
but,
that was also
least, go ahead, Justin.
That was very indicative of those sorts of reality shows. I don't know if y'all ever watched Puffy's Making the Band. When that was
I never liked it.
No.
He was having those people do really crazy stuff.
Yo, there was this one show people were competing to be his assistant and
yes.
No,
and he would I need you to go to the Swiss Alps and kill a bison with this
and bring it back to me.
And bring it back to me and
hours.
Exactly.
That just reminds me of Killer Mike's special on Netflix when he had people out here living in the woods on a commune in a nuclear home.
Too much.
That's funny.
But other than that, how are you guys? I'm over here. Listen, so apparently for all my people who live in Missouri, the city encounter opened up May 18th, and I'm just gonna be honest. I will probably be part of the first wave. I'm just gonna let y'all know. I will probably be that. I will.
It was nice knowing you, Erica.
I will.
Erica taking a bait.
I'm sick of being inside. Y'all can see me now, and then everybody can see me now. Y'all can see me. Hi, anybody who's watching, you can see me now, right? And I normally do not look this busted. Okay, I promise you I don't. They can tell you I normally do not look this busted, but literally I've been wearing my set it off braids underneath the scarf for
my a month. Set it off braids.
And I've never seen you
try
look
to take those out and wash your hair, Erica.
Right, try and do a curly,
Yeah, I just.
You're not gonna do that.
No, it's time to wash my hair anyway soon, but
everybody's hair is different. But to start out, I would just say I would try a bunch of different products, see what works best for your hair, and also in the shower, what makes your curls bouncy and lively for what I do anyway is you use your fingers to comb through your hair and not a comb because it separates the curls. So if you're, and then you just what it is everyone's curl pattern is different. You just have to love your curl pattern.
Yeah, and not even just with hair. Well, that too. Not even just with hair.
That's
yes,
important.
I do that. But not just with hair, nails. I just need to be out. And I'm an extrovert, and y'all know I just need to be out. I need to be out. And I can't. So I am. You can
So
call
you're about
me.
to be about of the first wave,
Yeah,
girl.
I'll let y'all. And if I get sick, y'all have full permission to roast me, toast me, talk about me. Y'all have full permission to do that. Because at that point, I deserve it. But I will probably be part of the first wave. I'm just gonna be honest.
Don't
and say
get
that.
corona, girl. We can't replace you if you die.
Right. Like, you run the podcast.
Hello.
I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna be in people's faces, just all in
Where
their
are you
face.
gonna
But
go,
I'm just gonna.
my nigga?
I don't know. Wherever's open, outside, wherever's open.
So you're trying to go to the mall.
I would recommend a park.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I don't think
I would go to a mall. I don't think I would do that. Just restaurants,
a bar.
That's hard for me though.
Restaurants. Y'all, we should go. Like, what? We should go to a restaurant, not a mall. A restaurant.
She said we.
Girl,
You should be
said
French
we,
all of a sudden, girl. What's going on?
Right.
Two of us don't live in St. Louis.
Oh, you speak French?
You can
now?
drive. You can drive to St. Louis.
Yeah, of course. First
Oh
of all,
yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Catch me in June. I'll think about it.
Right,
No.
July.
Oh my
July's
gosh.
my month. I gotta step out. Y'all better not
I'm
with a
definitely
second wave of coronavirus because y'all want to be outside.
Right.
I feel like I would be the third wave. You know what I mean? I think by the time July rolls around, we'll be the third wave.
Oh gosh, no! I'm team first wave. I'm tired of looking like this. I think
Illinois is gonna open up. Like,
yeah,
I was very sure that they were gonna keep like extending the closure, but I think by the end of this month they're gonna let people back outside.
Yeah, I think so. But they're doing so in a cautious way. I do hear that, like, for restaurants, at least, because I work in one, that they're taking out a portion of the tables to continue a safe amount of social distancing. Right. So we're going to be at half capacity while serving people. It's not going to be like a full restaurant. Like we're only going to have or allow a certain amount of people in at a time, which if y'all are going to make me in order for me to make money, do that. I at least appreciate the effort to somewhat keep us safe.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, that's pretty much it. I'm just anxious to get out, maybe just start working again, be out, because I'm sick of it. So that's basically it.
Yep.
First one.
I started Instacart, working for Instacart.
Yeah.
And I did my first batch, is what they call it, on Thursday. And it went well. I took Tyler with me because, like, I'm not good at grocery shopping, and so, like, the idea of grocery shopping for other people is kind of stressful. And it's just funny, like, seeing, I think, just with that particular order, what people like to eat or what they have in their households. Yeah. And the order, like, my first order was a big order too. It was like I literally I didn't just go pick up a few items. I went grocery shopping for this lady. Like, like me, I mean, like, maybe she hasn't been to the grocery store in like a month and she needed a lot of stuff. So it was a little stressful just because with everything going on, I think there were like meats that maybe weren't there that she wanted, or they were out of some canned goods, a cereal box that she wanted, and some chips, I think. And like, really all you have to do is they have this really easy messaging portion in the app where you can tell them what is missing or whatever. But to me, it's just like stressful because I'm like, now I have to message this woman and see now what she wants, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Right. But I took Tyler with me, and he thought it was fun because it felt like a scavenger hunt. It was like having the time of his life out here in the grocery store.
I like grocery shopping, so I
like grocery shopping for me because I get to like fantasize over eating this shit, not like necessarily shopping for other people, but like it is a good way to make money. It's an easy way to make money. And I plan on actually doing some later on after we're done with the podcast too. And I liked it a lot. And Eric could answer your question. You don't get paid immediately. I think you get it like every Monday or one day a week or something like that. All the earnings that you like accumulated throughout the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually signed up. I just have to put in my account information. But yeah, I actually signed up right after our conversation.
And I feel like this is definitely the time because I had initially actually signed up for it before we were quarantined, and they were telling me that they didn't need any people doing Instacart in my area at the time. But now with everything going on,
I'm sure.
Like I literally signed up for it one day, and they called me the next, and my background check had gone through, and they were asking me when I could do my first batch. So it goes by pretty quickly. Also, Alton like has a few batches like here and there. Like I could probably do a couple in a day, but St. Louis has them all day long.
I'm sure.
And I'm like, they're sending me stuff that I would have to drive 35 minutes for. I'm like, girl, if you don't give me something in Alton, because I'm not about to drive 35 minutes just to deliver some food.
Or in Edwardsville at least.
Girl. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Edwardsville at least.
But actually, that's what it is, though, is like you get paid for the amount, like, or I guess you get paid for like how big the order is and then like how far you would have to drive. So my first order was $40 and the lady tipped 20. You know what I mean? So I mean collectively it was 40. So I think the order itself was like 20 something and she tipped like 20. You know what I mean? So that's what I made on my first order. And so like I know if I do a few in a day, like I would be making decent money.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Let's like I mean, let's say she does 5 orders a day for like $20 in order. Like she gets like $20 or
that's
whatever. $100 a day, and like for 5 days she gets $500 like
a week.
That's
girl.
almost like waitressing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not bad pocket change.
No.
And I just this week like work has been pretty hectic because Mother's Day is tomorrow, so. I had planned, obviously, if I wasn't going to be working, doing that tomorrow, and I would have done it earlier today too, but we're recording. So, like, I have days in which that I'm able to do that and work.
Got it.
But that's all that's new with me. What's up with y'all?
I finished my album. Well,
yay!
So yesterday, I finished recording like a song that like has just sort of been like in the ether for a little bit. So I finished recording that, and then I went back and tweaked a couple things and like 2 other songs, whatever. So my contribution to the album, like as far as like writing and like recording things, is done. It is now up to like the other people who I'm working with to like make sure everything is mixed correctly and like sounds nice and whatever. But I'm like, I was like emotional yesterday as I get with album stuff because like I've been working on this album for like a year, and like the song that I was working on yesterday is the last song on the album, and it's also the last song that I was working on, and it's literally about death. And I was just like, and it was raining outside, and I was like emotional, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Ding dong, whoever.
I know, that's someone knocking on my door.
So I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe like this is like almost done now. And then like you got to start thinking about like, I'm like, I need the art to get figured out, and then like hopefully put it out by the end of this year. And I'm like, oh my god, like people are gonna like hear this project. And this one that I'm working on like is different. Like I am talking about having sex on this album and like talking about like being in love, and I'm like, oh damn, like my parents are gonna hear this shit. Erica, you heard a very early demo.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
like a very early demo.
Yeah, I did.
And so it's very much like that vibe that you heard. And even that song, I mean, it sounds much different than like what you heard at the time because like process was a bit different. But yeah, I'm excited, but I get this thing after I'm done finishing albums where I feel like empty nest syndrome, where I'm like, damn, like my kid's about to leave. Like that's crazy. Because I mean, the album belongs to me right now, and then when I put it out, it no longer belongs to me. Like it belongs to me.
Is it like kind of like a bittersweet moment?
Yeah, and so you feel like, and I'm like, because you get really happy, and you're like, this is really nice. Like this, I love that I was able to finish this, and like I take great pride in like having written the album by myself with like didn't even try to get any help from anybody, and I'm like, that's super cool, whatever. And also a really fun thing that happened, which I did on accident. I produced a track on the album myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
good
like,
for you.
There will be the majority of the album is produced by one other person, but I had created this track as like a reference. I was like, oh, here, like this is kind of what I want it to sound like. And he was like, why don't we just use that? And I was like, you think it's good enough to use? And he was like, yeah, like let's just do that. So I accidentally have written and produced my first song. Like that's crazy.
Nice.
So That's exciting. I'm excited to listen to the whole thing.
Me too.
I can't wait for everybody to hear it. The rollout. Well, actually, tomorrow I have like a Mother's Day present coming out from Cairo Croon. That'll end up like being on the album like much later, and then like official rollout should be starting in like August, I think. And then hopefully have the album out in like the fall time.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah. Joe, what about you?
Me trying to just, I guess, focus on me. I found a multivitamin because, as
Nice.
Justin would so quaintly put out, 26-year-olds are just pushing 30. So I gotta take care of my body now.
Swear he just said that the other day.
Old.
That's so funny. He is so funny. But I guess my hair is doing great. My nails are growing a lot. I think this is weird, but hopefully I can get a mani-pedi and I don't have to get like fake nails. So that's beautiful. I was reminded by my phone this morning that I was supposed to be at BC Fest today, so that fucking sucks. I was so excited.
What is BC Fest? What is BC Fest?
Broccoli City, that carnival or that festival they have with Roddy Ricch. It's supposed to be Meg Thee Stallion, DaBaby, Ari Lennox. I'm so tired.
That would have been crazy.
It's a bunch of Black excellence, shea butter, and just blackity blackness in
It's
one
coconut
place.
oil.
It's in BC.
I really want to
shea butter, baby.
I really want to hear the box live. Like I feel like that song goes nuts.
Bitch, don't wear no shoes in my house.
Oh,
I'm sure you felt that.
Made a freestyle like to the box.
Who did?
Smino.
Really?
Oh, no,
I love his mixtape. Me and Buffy been listening to it. Oh my gosh, what's the name of it? She already decided.
Smino is my king. I love him so much.
Oh, it's so good. And he did a freestyle to the Savage beat. So I love that too.
Oh, I
love
love
really good music. Y'all need to listen to that mixtape.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay. All right.
But besides all that, small house projects. So I've been keeping busy.
Nice. That's good though.
Nice. Good for you. Being productive and whatnot. All right, we're gonna move on to our first topic. So our first topic is something that I think we talked about for like a second before on like a previous episode, but we're going to dive deep into it because it's a topic that I'm not really familiar with, but I'm interested in. So a couple weeks ago, my obsession was an artist by the name of Rosalía. She is a Spanish singer, super talented. I love her music. I have made a decision that I really want to go see her live one day. Anyway, but me and Justin have had a couple conversations off podcasts about Rosalía being a Spanish singer, and he calls her a white singer. And so that was confusing to me at first. But we had a conversation again a couple of days ago because she was on the cover of People in Español. It just came out a couple of days ago. And on the cover, people noticed that she's a couple shades darker than what she normally is, you know. So I immediately screenshotted it and sent it to Justin. I was like, so what'd you think about this? And he was like, I'm not surprised. So I don't know. So we're just going to talk about Rosalía, I guess. And I guess the conversation of, you know, Latinx people and kind of the spectrum, I guess, if you want to talk about it that way. Or like that.
And so like the immediate first thing that I saw, like, because the first time I saw the picture, the photo was when you had like shared it, and I was like, oh, like it's Rosalía. And I was like, let me look at the picture, and I was like, she don't look like that. That's not her color at all. And I was like, oh, here she goes. Because so Rosalía is from Spain, right? Spain is a European country. Europeans are historically white people. And it doesn't really matter like what language you're speaking, if it's like Swedish or Spanish or Scandinavian, like it's still just white people, because like nationality is different than race, is different than ethnicity. Like these are different conversations. Rosalía is nationally a Spanish person because she's from Spain. She's a Spaniard. She's like ethnically like also a Spanish person because like different. Like I do not think that she's included. Like I don't think Spain as a country is included in like Latin America. I don't think it is included in that conversation. So like I have never referred to her like as a like Latina person.
Latina? Really?
Right. Because like the words are different. Like Hispanic derives that you're from like a Spanish speaking country. So like that would be inclusive of all of that. But like Latino, Latinx, like that is the countries that are like of Latin American origin, right? And Spain is literally so far away geographically from all the other stuff that it just like simply cannot be a part of that conversation. And I was telling Erica that like, right, because Spaniards are like historically white, they have had a function in society much similar to like the British people, where like they are responsible for colonizing like the vast majority of the world, right? Like Spain is the reason why anybody who is not Spanish speaks Spanish. Like that is why, because like the language was forced upon these like indigenous folks, and if you didn't speak the language, they just killed you, right? And so like Spain has a very like violent history, whatever, but now we're in this like new era where identity politics is this really big thing, and everybody wants to be like something. Everybody wants to be like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And I have seen, not just with Rosalía specifically, but like in general, like I have seen this conversation happening with like actual Latinx folks where they're like, hey, like I'm very proud to be brown, I'm very proud of like where I came from, whatever. And not that I'm saying that Spaniards can't be proud of where they come from, like it's fine, whatever. But I have seen a lot of like Spaniards like co-opting the like brown pride movement going on, where like they're like, oh, like, or isn't it so nice to be Latinx? And all the Latinx folks are like,
huh?
But you're not Latinx. Like you just speak Spanish. Like you're not part of none of what is going on down here. And it's not even specific necessarily to, I think, Spaniards being white, because like Argentinians are Latinx as well, but they are white Latinx folks. It's a bit of a different conversation there, like because they are a part of that like grouping of like South American countries, what have you.
We're talking about like geographically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But so with Rosalía, she's very much been a part of the like, oh, like, isn't it so fun to be Latinx? And we're like, chica, like, your voice is lovely and your hair is so pretty and your outfits are gorgeous. You are not Latinx. Like, that is not how that works at all. And she, to what I have always noticed, has just like vastly ignored that conversation. It's just like, I am Latinx just like all of you guys are. I'm like, no, you're not. And so then this cover comes out for people in Español, and I'm like, oh, she's super brown in this photograph. That's crazy, because I know she's lighter than that, like way lighter than that.
Yeah, and it's not even in the comments. It wasn't even in the comments. Somebody posted like the original photo. And
I had sent Erica a tweet that was because Rosalía had done Vogue, a Vogue cover before the People in Español cover, and she was like alabaster colored. She was like incredibly white.
I see. I'm looking her up right now.
Sorry, I was going to say I want to look her up.
Take your time. Go ahead. They put a picture of the Vogue magazine next to the picture of People in Español, and it's literally like two different colors of people. And
Jesus Christ.
There's this conversation happening right now where it's like these white like non-Latinx folks like really want so bad to be a part of the like minority group that they're literally like wearing brown face.
Well, so I will ask you this. Well,
like
so I
would type thing.
You said what, Joe?
It reminds me of like what Kardashians do. Like,
correct.
They run similarly to me.
Yes, it is much. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. So do you think that it was her choice? She was like, I want to be darker on this cover. Or do you think it was the magazine that airbrushed her and edited her that way?
I think it's two things going on at the same time. I think, number one, Rosalía very much wants people to view her as Latina, so and brown. So I think she had a conversation with her team, and she was like, I want you to go out and get the Maybelline cocoa powder, like colors. Like I want you to do those things. I want you to make me look like a morena, and like whatever. And then I think on the other side of that, like I think people in Español and like just publications similar to that are very much, they're trying to big up this like brown pride thing. So they're like, okay, so like in post, after we do the photographs, we're going to make her even darker. Whereas with Vogue and like with Vulture, they are a largely white publication. Now, People magazine is also a largely white publication, and I don't want you to think that like whatever, but they definitely make their folk look much lighter in their edition. So I think there's a lot of things going on with that. But the most immediate thing that I always notice, because I told Erica, I was like, I think Rosalía is like Latin pop's like equivalent to like Post Malone.
Oh, girl. Sorry, I'm just now seeing the People magazine cover. I just looked at the Vogue the Spain one.
Yeah.
She looks ghostly in the Vogue cover.
Yeah.
Who is Bronze Goddess?
Yeah, she looks ghastly in the Vogue cover, and then on People in Español, she literally looks like she's like my shade in that thing. And I'm like, that's not what you...
Yeah, not
Even
at all.
the nails are different. The nails look more ethnic. I'm over it.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, stark contrast. She looks like Kalani. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So do you think that because you said she hasn't been, responding to it, which I guess is her right, but do you think she should say something like, hey guys, I'm mad darker in this cover, my bad? Or do you think she should address some of the things, or do you think she just keep it pushing because that's her right?
So what is her name again?
Rosalía.
Rosalía.
Yeah. Here's the thing about her and like responding. First off, I don't know how badly I want to hear her respond to these things.
Really? I kind of want to know personally.
What I have seen, if we're keeping this comparison between Rosalía and like Post Malone, or like Rosalía and Iggy Azalea, or like Post Malone or Rosalía and like Riff Raff, like whenever any of these people are called out on this like cultural appropriation conversation, they're always like, oh, well, I fucking like. Whatever.
They start with fake tears.
Yeah, and it's a bit more nuanced, I feel like, in the Latinx community, because like people it is very easy to like muddy those waters, and they're like, oh, she speaks Spanish and she's from this country and like whatever, and I'm like, yeah, but she grew up a lot differently than all the morenas that she's like trying to like impersonate in her like image, I think that she at some point is going to have to respond, but I'm not sitting down waiting like, oh god, like I wonder what Rosalía is going to say about this, because I'm like, she's going to say something white, as white people tend to do.
I think too that this goes even further when you think about like magazine covers and the editing process when it comes to people who model.
Yes,
And Tyler was talking about this too, actually. He was saying, he showed me a photo of Ariana Grande and a recent magazine cover she was on. And when I was looking at it, I was like, I don't think that she looks that dark. And then he was like, let's pull up some photos. And we pulled up photos of like her, during her Victorious days.
Victorious, when she was white.
Yeah, and then now, like on the cover of that magazine. And I was like, okay, I do see a vast difference now that you point that out. But I think too, it's like not just, I have a feeling that artists do not want to have anything affect their career or have themselves put in a negative light during their career. You know what I mean? But obviously those things happen. And so if you keep in mind, whenever they are like put on magazines and stuff, I don't necessarily think they would sit there and be like, yes, make me darker, because then like think about the repercussions that would have on them from people who look like us and actually have those colors of skin to be like,
do you think why would repercussions?
What I'm saying is like from people who think it's wrong, you know what I mean? Like
and there are people like us having this conversation that are like,
hey, we noticed the difference. We know that you're not that skin color and that they made you darker. You know what I mean? And with that being said, it's like you would think like they would have an issue with it as well. And I also think that too, yes, they are the famous person who was on the cover of this magazine, but they don't choose the photo. They don't choose their makeup. They don't choose the style, what they want, you know, what the magazine envisions them to be like in the photo. And so with that being like, long story short, I think that this also has a big play in on the magazine, regardless of like the things that she says. Maybe they took that and ran with it and was like, well, this is what we should do. We should make, you know, it seem as though she is darker than what she is. Right. But then keep that in mind is that they do that for all types of people who are on magazine covers. It's not just Latinx women. It's also white women and like all the other stuff. You know what I mean?
Industry issue.
But the thing is like, it's also the topic of beauty. Like what's beautiful is us and like our darker skin. It's more to like the industry, it's prettier to have the perfect toned skin. And so whenever they're like putting people on covers or in magazines and stuff, they are considering those things. They consider their makeup, what hairstyles are in, what clothes, you know, clothing styles and all that kind of thing. That's what they're thinking about when they're putting together a cover for a magazine. I think I hear what you're saying 100% in that like her argument is, this is how I feel. I feel I am a Latinx, not just Spanish. Right. But I don't think that she would sit there and be like, emphasize this. You know what I mean? Make my skin look darker than what it was. Yeah. I don't necessarily think she even has the power to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if she has the power to do all that.
It's interesting to think about. It's interesting to think about though, because you brought up Ariana Grande and like her thing. Like I was making jokes with friends of mine for like a good year where I was like, oh, I think Ariana's like starting to do blackface now, because like I was watching her get darker and I was like, okay. And then like she came out with like when Thank You Next came out, like that album is an R&B album, and like it extended for Ariana Grande, like it extended past the magazine covers, right? Like every picture she took with her iPhone, like every music video she was involved in, I was like, she's brown now. I was like, this is different. And obviously I'm like, I was still listening to the music and watching the music videos, but I was just like, this seems interesting.
I think I understand, and I see where the dots kind of connect whenever you put that in that kind of perspective. But at the same time, like I think it's just a standard of beauty is that you are not too white or you are not too black. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like that is the standard of beauty. When you look at Beyonce, she is like that perfect caramel color.
Yeah, the industry
that
loves
just
her.
Gets her by to do whatever she wants to do.
I agree completely.
So, like keeping that in mind too, it's like whenever I say when it comes to like white people and you're saying like, you know, now she's doing an R&B album, which is not solely just for black people, but what I'm saying is like what was that saying I said? I was like, they want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues. They want all those things that, you know, are good about what our culture gives, but not the bad stuff.
Right.
I didn't know she was coming out with an R&B album. That's rather convenient.
She didn't. No, she didn't come out with album was kind of R&B-esque.
It was soulful, very soulful.
Yes, not that she came out with an R&B album.
Yeah, it wasn't explicitly R&B, but it had influences.
Yeah, but also an album cover is different than a magazine cover. Like with Ariana's album cover, she had to prove everything. With Rosalia's People cover, I'm sure the final decision wasn't up to her. You know what I mean?
You're right about that.
So they have a whole team dedicated to that.
Yeah, so I'm sure Ariana, that was a choice, bro. Like at the end of the day, you know, approve all that stuff.
Yeah, no, her being tan, it's like it's no different than women of any light color wanting to tan and be darker. You know what I mean?
It's just it's something that I just think about all the time because I'm like, at what point are we saying? Because she was lily white for like my entire childhood. You feel me?
Who, Ariana?
Yeah, and then she was white for a good chunk of her like singing career, and then like Sweetener happened, and she started getting a little darker, and then like Thank You Next happened.
Even before Sweetener, like even like I think even before Sweetener. Yeah.
I think like it's not too drastic though. I think you can definitely still tell she is a white woman who tan.
Isn't she like like she has some kind of Latina in her? I think
she's Italian.
Okay, so she's not
Italian.
So she could have. She does not, but with that being said, she could have darker skin.
She could, yeah, and I'm willing to concede that, but I think with her, like, I think if you put a picture of Kat, whatever the fuck her last name was, from Victorious,
I don't ever think they talked about the last name, but yeah.
If you put a picture of Kat up next to like modern day Ariana Grande, it's like, every nigga is a star. Like,
I mean, and that's the case for like any Kardashian too. If you put Khloe from 2006 and Khloe from 2020, not even Khloe, Kim. That's Kim. That's a bad example. Right. Kim from 2006 and Kim in 2020. You know.
That is also very different, and not even necessarily just the skin tone, but everything about her. So
just something that I'm like perpetually thinking about. And again, like I am not very far into my like Latino identity yet, so like I feel like I probably don't have the space right now to like fully talk about it, but it's just something that I think about now, and I'm like, it's weird how she's white and doing these things. Like, it's just kind of interesting. But Darian brings up a really good, like all these really good points, because it's like there's a bunch of intersections going on
as far as that goes. Because if this is like the only instance in which she has like done something physically in order to make a point about that, I have a feeling that was out of her hands, and that it wasn't necessarily her doing. Though it is though I feel like we should like look more closely, like instead of just blaming her, or not necessarily blaming her, but looking at her as the culprit, like maybe we should think more and look more closely into like the magazines or who I don't know, like whoever is putting out these photos and editing these photos and stuff like that, like why they think like stuff like that is okay.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, people's not gonna say nothing. So I feel like nobody has been like, "Oh, shame on you, people." It was shame on you, Rosalía. So
yeah, you're right.
There's gonna be a lot of people who think that this conversation that we're having is stupid as well. They're like, "What would it matter?"
Yeah. So but I mean, you know, and you know, Justin, as you continue to learn, I would, like I said, this kind of conversation fascinates me because it's nothing that I've ever been like really been a part of anything. So, you know, I would love to like continue this conversation because I think it's an important conversation. You know, we talk about colorism amongst Black people, but it happens, you know, amongst
across cultures.
Across cultures, absolutely. So yeah, but you know, shout out to Rosalía. I still love her music, and if she drops a project, I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah, so, I mean, she's cool. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll have to like look her up because I actually have never heard of her before this time.
Her music
I like her.
Slaps.
It's so good. She's so talented. It's oh my god. Love her, and she's beautiful. All that
she's
stuff,
gorgeous.
Absolutely. But yeah, so speaking of you know, just white people wilding. On to our second topic. So what was it? I think last weekend, Justin's favorite person in the whole wide world, Elon Musk.
Boo.
Justin's bestie. You know, he had his seventh. He had his seventh child. Gave his girlfriend. Yes, seven. Yes,
hold on. I thought he only had 3 before this one.
Erica, time out. What are you saying right now?
7.
I thought this was his first child.
I thought this was his fourth.
No, he had a marriage before Grimes.
Google it.
Kids from it.
No, I didn't know he had 7 kids.
I read it was his 7th. Somebody can fact check us, but I read it was his 7th child. He had 6 before, and yes, Justin just looking up right now. It's his 7th.
Look at 7 children.
Told you.
I bet you all his other kids are like, why would you do that to my sister? Why would you name her that?
Yeah.
That's so basically, weird.
Yeah. So his, you know, boo, living girlfriend, wifey, whatever.
I don't know what she is.
I don't know. His
they are married?
They all got new names too. What is this new one?
I don't know.
You said what?
All his 7 kids, they got normal names. What's so special about this one?
Grimes.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk's girlfriend gave birth to their 7th child, and they dropped a Pythagorean theorem-esque name, an equation X name, and I don't even know how you pronounce it, so I'm not even going.
I do. So
listen, sounds like the future.
How do you pronounce it, Justin?
So let me just, because I'm just backtracking to when the baby entered the Earth realm. The child's name, I'm just going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you how it's actually pronounced, allegedly. Okay. The child's name is spelled XAEA-12.
Yeah.
The child's name is pronounced Sasha Archangel.
No, you're lying.
Swear hand to God.
So that's actually really cute.
It is a cute name.
If spelled that way, if it was spelled that way, yeah, that'd be real cute. I know
that the name is pronounced this way because Grimes took it upon herself to go on. Well, first off, and we'll get into this in a second, but 2 seconds after the child was born, and everybody logically was like, "What the fuck is that baby's name?" All these linguistic people who I've never heard of came out the woodwork, and it's like, well, actually, the AE is pronounced like this, and X12 is a reference to this. So if you put these things together, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then Grimes took it upon herself to like hop on Twitter and was like, this is what the name means. Like, these are the pieces of the thing, and this is how you smash it all together. This is what, and I'm like, you could have simply named your child SACHA ARCHA NGEL.
Yeah. And then apparently, because you know what, we talk about how money buys a lot of things, but money does not put you above the law always, because apparently California law rejected that name. I don't care how much money you got.
Right.
What?
Yes.
It's against the law in California. It's like it says you can't have any symbols, numbers. You can have an apostrophe, and that's it. That's all.
You know who I am.
You know what? Elon Musk is probably shocked. That's probably the first time in his adult life that anybody told him no.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Probably.
So,
but yeah,
I mean, that's not going to stop them from, like, that kid. I don't know. I think, like, if you think about it, when they go to school or something, like, Tyler had an instance like this. He had a kid in his class who, and he could probably tell a story better, because I don't know the exact way that it was spelled. He's in here right now and he's listening to me, but long story short, this kid had the name and it was just letters in the alphabet, and it was like, I don't know, what was it, Tyler?
It was
just tell me how it's spelled.
ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP.
Right.
JKMNO.
It was JKMNO. Tell me, please, how you pronounce that name.
I would ask him how you pronounce that.
Right.
No.
I'm not about to butcher it.
What y'all got? What's your answer?
Camino. I mean, I don't know.
Nope. It was no L, because they left the L out from those letters.
No, that's ghetto. That's so ghetto. That's so ghetto.
So, like,
that should be turned
people
away
are
too.
just doing whatever they want to do just to be creative. You know what I mean? But, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to have to sit down and have to figure out an algebra 3 problem to say your child's name.
That name is a computer code. Stop playing with me.
Right. Well, that is something you add in if the coding's
that
not right
name
or
is
something.
the antidote for the coronavirus.
Somebody
figure it out.
Nah, but so I brought this up in the group chat because, you know, aside from like what we're going to talk about in the podcast, we honestly just send each other stuff and just be like, look at this. Like, so of course, because like I said, Elon Musk is Justin's favorite person in the entire world. I was like, Justin, look at what your boy did. And
fucking hate him.
but we were trying to talk about how, like, you know, people, of course people were clowning it on Twitter, but also people were like taking the time to actually like try to dissect it and explain it. But let somebody name their baby Lakeisha,
Jamarion,
right,
Latrell, or something like that,
as Justin talks about,
right?
And now all of a sudden you don't know how to work your tongue and speak, you know. So I don't know. So I don't know. I just think it's funny how when somebody who's white or non-black, you know, they have a unique name, different name, people usually take the time to to spell it, say it, they ask questions. Oh, what does it mean? That's such a pretty name. But
it becomes a viral aspect on the internet,
yeah,
with everyone trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but like with black people,
everybody found a decoder in their cereal box trying to figure out this baby's name. Go back and re-listen to the one with the mayonnaise monster. We got regular black girls with regular black ass names, and y'all can't get that right.
Who are like being harassed almost every day because like in the workplace.
Can't get a job. Now I promise you, Sasha Fitzgerald or whatever her name is will get a job. Fitzgerald. Or whatever, we'll get a job anytime. But again, let Latrell and Lakeisha try to get a job at Bank of America. And
when you said Latrell and Lakeisha, I thought of Whitney Houston saying all their names.
Yeah, that where she's at the award show, she's like Lakeisha, Latavia, Latrell, like, and you know what, Erica, like I don't even think we have to go like necessarily that far. Like if I had a black child today and named the child Sasha Archangel and spelled it the exact same way, my child would not have access to jobs, like would be getting clowned in schools, like there would be that thing like where people are trying to do roll call and it's like, well, I'm sorry if I mess your name up, but like if the child's white, you take the time,
right? And you make it seem as though it's important and it matters.
A net worth of $40.6 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is too. If you ever look at like people who have a lot of money, they generally don't choose typical names because they know that they can get away with it.
Grooming, sir.
But even those names,
real life.
I mean, Kim Kardashian named her child a direction.
That's crazy.
Northwest.
Right. Named her child a direction on a map.
Right. Which I mean, I think
it's out here too.
It's a pretty name or whatever, but I mean,
but you see what I'm saying? It's like, who else do you know named North? You know what I mean?
We have a baby named Culture. Stop playing with me.
With the K.
Right.
With the K, bro.
With the K.
But I don't know. It's just crazy that, some people have the opportunity to, have a unique name and wear it with pride, and nothing will happen to them in life. They'll come out relatively unscathed. But, people of our color, you better have a name like Sarah or else you ain't getting nothing in life.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes into, I think it seeps into like even how like our families are constructed. Cause like my mom is always talking to me about like when I inevitably have kids, she's always like, you better not name them nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And like, see that what does crazy mean though? Because like I don't want to name my child one day when I do have a kid anything that a ton of other people have, which is why I really appreciate the name Darian, because I feel like there are like a handful of us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying that I'm gonna sit there. What'd you say?
I have another friend named Darian though. That's why I'm getting y'all confused.
That's funny. But like I've only ever met like a handful of Darians in my life, whereas like
same.
No, like like I know too many Amy's, too many Samantha's, too many Jessicas, a ton of Hannah's, like what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with those names. They're just like everybody uses them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
I'm grateful for my normal. My friend Erica Danielle Green. I'm grateful for my normal name every day. I'm so glad my parents gave me a normal name. Mm-hmm. That a quote unquote employable name.
My thing is though, like, why do we get coined the term ghetto just because it's different?
Because we're
black. What I mean? I know, but that's I understand that, but like it's like just because we decided that we didn't want to name our black African American child Rachel, instead we wanted to name them like Ray Diagené or like something like that. Like,
come on.
And then their nickname is Ray or Dej or something like that.
Whatever.
Like, I think that's cute. Whether or not the name is complicated for you to say,
or
it's not impossible to learn. You know what I mean? And like, it's not fair that we get coined all of these terms just for being dark skinned or a shade darker than the rest of y'all.
I say this all the time, right? But like, I grew up classically trained in piano for 13 years. Niggas know how to pronounce Tchaikovsky if you show it to them. That name is like 26 letters long.
Mm-hmm.
The alphabet is barely 26 letters long.
Right.
And I'm like, if you show any nigga on the street Tchaikovsky, they're like, oh my God, Tchaikovsky.
Or even Beethoven.
Beethoven. Chopin is pronounced Chopin. And everybody just is like, oh, I know how to pronounce that. Like, and it's just like, and I give these are extreme examples because like these people were like,
and it's exotic
Like
if
one of
they
the
are
best
like
composers.
French, if they are like Swedish, if they are like anything like that. It's like, wow, that name, you know what I mean? But like if it's African, if it's Indonesian, if it's anything like that, it's like, do I want to take my time to really pronounce all of these syllables?
It's about what they associate our names with. I don't know why people names be associated with wealth and let me get to know you, and they be black people by.
So something that I thought was really ironic, or not necessarily ironic, but very strange in that they don't go together, is that my ex-boyfriend's mother, who is racist, her name is Vanda. Her name is Vanda. That is a black woman's name if I ever heard one.
Right.
And I was like, when I found that out, I was like, I'm sorry, your mother, and I didn't say this in my head, I was like, your racist mother's name is Vanda.
Right, your Klansman
and nobody thinks anything of it.
I wonder if she hates her name. I actually want to know that.
You wonder if she hates my name?
I know
her name.
Oh,
her name.
I don't know.
She might got it changed though, right? Maybe she don't have that.
Right.
Like if she didn't like it or something.
Yeah.
But I just think like that's so funny because that name is associated with a white woman, it's not ghetto.
Yeah. Like even the name like Monique, actually I learned that the name Monique is French actually, but like I know a lot more black Moniques than I do white Moniques, but like a black Monique would be seen as ghetto when really Monique is actually a French name. It's like a French origin.
Yeah. I know a guy whose name is Dominique actually, and
that's actually a French name too, I think.
I know a guy named La Madre. Sorry, that's random.
The thing about these names, which I always find to be really interesting, is that like you find out later on that like the names like Devontae or like LaQuisha or whatever, like if you break them down into their like word origins, like, oh, the name means beautiful light, or you know, the name means lovely springtime or whatever. And I'm like, that is beautiful to name your child something like that. But because y'all have got in your heads that certain names that come from Negroes are ghetto and unemployable, suddenly they're not good names to use.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like again, like if it was like a Russian name, an Italian name that was hard to really say or pronounce, if it was, I don't know, Swedish, like I don't know, because you know, like Swedish, they be having like the 2 dots over the eyes and stuff like that. Like I don't really know how to, I don't really know what to do with that. Like I see it and I get lost. Like I don't know how to move.
You're like,
after that. I don't know. But with those kind of names, you still would take the time, and but with black names, African names, things like that. Because I don't like, this is so random, but I always hate when people say Zendaya's name wrong. Like they'll say like Zendaya, and I'm like, no, like she's even broke it down for people. She's like Zenday, D-A-Y. Like,
and there are 3 syllables in that name. It is not difficult.
Not that goddamn hard.
And like people will be like, so Zendaya. I'm like, bro, and like you can tell like she really she wants to act right for the camera, but like you can tell like.
Also, as a person interviewing another person, like you should know how to pronounce their name. That takes away your credibility.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And even people like, I remember when Black Panther came out, like there's a lot of people with like African names. Baby, they tore them names up, honey. I felt so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Well, good luck to what's his name, Elon Musk, and
I wonder what they're going to do now that they know that it's illegal, because like, if you think about it, and it makes sense as to why it would be, it's like whenever she goes to school and she has to write that shit down, or like she needs to have that on a license, can you even print that on a license? You know what I mean? Like file taxes, that kind of stuff. Like that, it makes sense why that would be illegal. Specifically
the AE smashing thing. It's not like XAE, like the AE, or like it's that kind of smashed together slanted AE where it's like one letter at the same time.
Right.
And I'm like, do you know that is not in the English lexicon? Like we do not
at all.
We don't use that letter. We don't do that. I'm sorry that you decided to pop a Jupiter baby out of your pussy, Grimes, but like
But they're not above the law, and and I
not.
understand them wanting to do something different and for it to be special for them. But like do make it hard on the child, because it's very different if there are letters and it is spelled out and you can try to pronounce somebody's name. But it's different when you put numbers in there that don't make no sense to anybody else.
Numbers.
And a minus and a times and a plus sign that isn't going to help nobody figure out how to pronounce a child's name.
Naming your child Y equals MX plus B doesn't do anything for the rest of us.
A squared plus B squared.
I'm just gonna call you algebra 3 for the rest of your life. Like that doesn't.
She comes out a robot. You don't learn the name immediately. It's gonna be
You might as well just name your baby sloped intercept form and just push him
and be chill with it.
I don't even know. But I'm interested to see what'll happen, because California,
they don't have a choice. They gotta spell the name the way
they said it went against the state constitution.
And California is like the most lax state ever. So if California told you no, then Like,
I do think I'm interested to see what'll happen too, because it's like it is really hard to tell rich people what to do.
Right.
And like, if you
I can buy your whole department.
Like, I can guarantee you that he's going to take his Tesla money and start a petition talking about something. We should be able to name our children whatever they want and they not get discriminated, against, except for this is only going to be right. This is only going to be like, this is only going to be something that affects people who have a lighter skin tone. Like, at the end of the day.
But I mean, I think his Tesla money is wrapped up in making a colony on Mars, because they done all they can with this planet and they trying to leave.
Which is where the alien baby name comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's going to be like, this is whenever we leave this planet, this is the new norm.
And this is the first child of the Martian colonies.
Could be. I'm putting anything past them.
Because I guess if he's the one financing all this shit, he should, I guess, be the one to kind of make some of the rules or come up with some ideas, what I mean?
Right.
But Darren, you bring up a good point though. So if he does put this little petition out, like, people should be able to name their babies whatever they want and not get discriminated against. Remember that when somebody applies for Tesla and they have a name that is just super out there, and
like, you have to remember this applies to everybody and not just your child.
Thank you.
Remember that. Keep that same energy. So, but I mean, good luck to Elon Musk and his 7 children and
this newborn baby who already is the talk of the town.
All praise to our new alien overlord, Sasha Archangel.
Yes. AI is
Sasha Archangel. Angel.
Right. Yeah. Live long and prosper.
Right.
Live long and prosper.
Well, on to our last topic. Our last topic is from Darren. So, Darren, I'm going to let you introduce our last topic.
Because this is a really this is really different. Like,
yeah, I got the text and I was like, excuse me?
You guys were
outside the box thinking.
Yeah,
see,
you guys were
in our group chat. In our group chat, we have a bad habit of, like, if we don't know what something means, instead of asking, what do you mean, we just ignore the person.
You just don't respond.
We're like, oh, that's crazy.
Right. I sent that message, I think, like 3 weeks ago. No, like, initially, like, a few weeks ago, nobody said anything. And so finally, I think I brought it up to Justin.
And I forgot to respond back.
Yeah, we gotta do better about that. We should probably just use our words.
So Darian is going to slow walk us through this topic, and we'll come
right. So I had to pause my video because I had to pull up an article. But basically, an alter ego is a second self created by the individual, usually to live out a better version of thyself. And so, like, just to give a couple of examples, British singer and songwriter David Bowie had several alter egos. The most famous one was Ziggy Stardust, a humanoid alien. Ziggy allowed Bowie to distance himself from the boy from Beckenham and became fearless. And then also a few years back, American singer, Beyonce, created an alter ego, Sasha Fierce.
Right.
She described Sasha as being fun, sensual, glamorous, and aggressive. And Beyonce let Sasha out when she was on stage. So I guess my question really is, with that being said, is like, when y'all think of an alter ego, or if you think of like a person who is not you, but could be your second half, what would that be?
Okay. The first thing I think about, like, because Sasha Fierce, I think is really interesting. Nicki Minaj had the like Roman Zelensky thing when she was like coming up, and I thought that was really interesting. And like Donald Glover has Childish Gambino,
right?
And all these like specific to like the industry or whatever, like they allow people, I think, to tap into like different sorts of energies, number one, and number two, like they allow themselves access to like different media. So like when when I was introduced to like Childish Gambino, and I rewatched his interview from like 2014, like a couple days ago. He was on Hot 97 and he was talking to Peter Rosenberg. And Peter was like, oh, like, you know, what name do you think evokes more attention right now? Do you think it's Donald Glover? Or do you think it's Childish Gambino? And Glover was like, you know, I think it depends on the demographic, whatever. And then Peter Rosenberg was like, no, I actually think right now, like if you say Gambino, like people more immediately recognize it. And I think that conversation was true in 2014. But I think now that we're living post Atlanta, post all of these like films and stuff that Glover has been in, all these Emmy noms, whatever, I'm like, I think the conversation has shifted slightly. And I also think that like that is translated into how Gambino like goes about like press. Cause like he does press a lot more for like movies and TV shows now, and like refuses to talk about his music stuff.
Right.
And so I think for me, like when I think of alter ego, it is something that allows me to occupy a space that I typically would not be occupying.
Right. And so with that being said, and you using Childish Gambino as an example, I think of that as like him separating himself from his music and him as an actor. Like when I think of Donald Glover, I think of Atlanta, and I think of him like being in movies and playing parts. And when I think of Childish Gambino, I think of like the music that he's put out, right? Which is like, those can be two different people or two different sides of himself. And so with that being said, like also, I guess if I had to think about an alter ego, like if I for some reason like became an artist, or if I like wanted to have an alias or whatever when writing a book, what like would it be? But also like I have to keep in mind too, like what would my character do? Because like as a writer, I think I come up with all these like crazy ideas of like what I wish I could do. Like I think I don't know necessarily if I have a name. I know what I would like be. You know what you would do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What is it? Let's hear it.
I would be like, this is gonna sound so like, I don't know. I don't want to say basic, but like my ideas are like, what if I was a super spy or something? And I was just planted into your guys' life to protect all of you because all of your parents are involved in some government shit that you don't know about. And I'm just here to protect you from drug lords and,
this is terrifying.
You know,
in real life?
I know, or like, what is it? Cyber people out here trying to like blow up the world, and your parents like didn't necessarily have a foot in it, but they had the blueprints that kind of started it all. So this is how this shit
Agent
happened.
Cody Banks.
Hello.
Right, and then
Agent Cody Banks.
I'm like, you know, over here like a badass wielding guns and like karate chopping niggas and shit like that. Like, you know, that
I can see
like,
it.
I feel like if I had an alter ego, I would choose it to be something like that. Or my second one, I wish like magic, and you know, this is a topic also when it comes to witchcraft, like we don't actually know if stuff like that exists. I could believe in like Wiccans and like, you know, how they do stuff that has to do with your aura or like
they do
stuff like that, rituals and all that kind of stuff. So like, but taking it a step further is like actual like witches and warlocks, or like the fact that I could like if I snap my fingers, I could change something. Like I knew like chants and whatever, and like I could change people's lives and change things for the good and all that other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I could imagine myself also doing that, because like whenever I'm reading a book like that, I'm so engrossed in it that I feel like that could be me. You know what I mean? It becomes like something. That's why like reading is probably one of my favorite pastimes, like one of my favorite things to do. And it's just because like you get a moment to escape and be somebody else, you know what I mean? And so like when I love reading those kinds of books, because like reading, as much as it is fun to like read books about everyday life and people going through everyday life, it's also fun to read about something that you know absolutely nothing about, and nor do you know if it's true. It's nice to like get out of the norm for a while and kind of just see what it's like to be on the other side of things. So with that being said, I could also see myself being a witch.
Okay.
Tyler's in the back like, what the fuck?
I gotta think about mine. Mine would probably be the same, but I'd probably be like more like Sasha Fierce too, where like I'm more like uninhibited because I overthink a lot, and I'm like, what do people think of me? So I probably wouldn't care what people think, and I would just be me, do what I want, say what I want. I mean, I can't really say what I want, but do what I want unapologetically, be like fun and fierce and just out here spreading my wings. Caw. Like,
caw.
I don't know.
Jo, what do you think? What do you think you would be doing alter ego wise?
Jo be a freak.
I know. I would like my alter ego to be something like Rico Nasty.
I can see that.
Like heavy, like give me the rock. And I might even take it a step further. Like imagine me and I have my 9 to 5 and I get off of work or whatever and I want to sing some karaoke. I think I would like to rock out to some heavy metal, if that makes sense.
Do so.
Okay.
Because I'm like I feel like everything is organized and everything has to be a certain way. I get all of my work done. It's very linear. Like I would want my alter ego to be something where I let completely go. So
right. So I already
like that, or in the vibe of Rico Nasty, that would work for me.
You know what?
I can see JoAnn in like all leather, like doing
like
something crazy to her hair. Like eyeliner out to here, like bright red lipstick. Right, something like that.
My makeup's been leading up to. I love it.
And like spiked boots and stuff out here, like
I want to be a rock star. Yes.
Stacey's in the audience, just cheering her on, honey.
Right. Period. Supportive as always.
You know what though? Now I think about it, I think Doja Cat would be my alter ego. Now I think about it, like a Doja Cat could be on. Yeah.
I think
you low-key already have one. Kyra
you have two actually. Chaotic Black Boy and Kyra.
True.
You guys were getting into it, so I was just thinking about it. Like I have intentionally, like over the course of like the past several years, I think been very cognizant of like my like how I am perceived to other people. And so I think the first thing that happened was the like Chaotic Black Boy thing, because I was not that like before I got to college, and then I got to college and I was like, I want to think more about like how I'm doing this, whatever. And then the Chaotic Black Boy thing came about, and then I just changed that to everything. And then actually around when I started college, I started like doing like writing and directing my like own short films and like doing like fake music videos and like whatever. And with that I was like, oh, I want to be JD. Like I like that, like it sounds really interesting. And like when I like am thinking about film, or like whenever I attempt to write a book every 8 months, like it's always under being JD. And then when I started making music officially, I remember coming to Linnea, who produced Rorschach for me, and being like, oh, I think I want the music thing to be Chaotic Black Boy. And she was like, no, that's stupid. She was like, there should be a separation. She was like, because your like Chaotic Black Boy persona is very much like you critiquing media things, and like even this podcasting thing, like I very much feel like when I'm on mic, I step into like a different whatever. And so we were talking about like personas or whatever, and like we landed on Cairo Croon, and I think it's pretty apparent too, like, because if you look at any of the stuff that I've made musically, like either that be an actual song or like the photo sets that I'd be putting out or like the music videos, I think I use Cairo Croon to talk about things that I don't feel like talking about in my everyday to day life, but are still quite important to me. So like the first album that I put out was like about a breakup that I was going through, and like my emotions about those things, whatever. And the second album is like, you're gonna hear my thoughts about climate change and my thoughts about like sex and like my thoughts about falling in love. Like you'll hear all these things that I do not feel like putting out into the ether as beat on myself. I'm like, whatever. And then also what I realized that I was doing, I actually was just thinking about this like yesterday. Like, I am substantially more feminine as Cairo Croon. I feel like
it's the makeup.
Yeah, I use Cairo Croon, like the persona, to like do things that I, as Justin Nunn, would not be doing. Like aesthetically speaking, like I have always thought about like, oh, like wearing makeup, like painting the nails, like dressing really crazy, whatever. I'm like, it doesn't really make sense for me to do that in my day-to-day right now. So like with Cairo, I'm like, oh, I can do whatever I want to do. And I was telling my dad about this yesterday. I talk a lot as Justin. Like I do a lot of talking. And I was like, I like with Cairo that I don't say a lot of words. Oh no, it wasn't. I wasn't talking to my dad. I was talking to my boyfriend, and
just drop that in there, like ever so.
I was,
so casually.
I was talking to my boyfriend, and because he was asking me what the album title was, and I was like, "Mind your fucking business." And he was like, "Oh, why can't I know?" I was like, "Because," I was like, "Justin tells everything." But I was like, there's a large air of mystery around like what Cairo Croon does, which I like have very deliberately constructed. Like I tweet all day as Chaotic Black Boy. I'm talking all the time. Like Erica can attest to that. Like I'm always online. But if you go and look on any of my Cairo socials,
nothing.
It's spaced out.
It's very like Beyonce in the fact that like you post every couple months and you post what you want to post and then you dip and then you'll show back up and then you'll dip. Like you have something to promote, like that's when you post. You're not just like, hey, what's up, y'all? Like that's not kind of
that's not my vibe, and that's very my vibe as Chaotic Black Boy, as Justin Nunn, whatever. Like I said, I do a lot of talking, and I sat down myself before Rorschach came out, and I was like, this allows me the opportunity to like choose very carefully the words that I'm saying, the things that I'm posting, and like have everything be impactful. Because anytime I post anything as Cairo Croon, people are paying attention to it. Like I know I'm not like, no one knows who I am. That's fine. But like whenever I go away for months at a time and come back with something, and then people are like, oh my God, like what's going on? Like that's crazy. And so I think that, like I sort of have already constructed a bunch of like personas, because there are things that I'm like, these need to be separate and over here. It even goes to like the music videos and being Erica directed together. If you go to the credits of any of those music videos, in the title it says Cairo Croon, and if you go to the credits it says directed by JD Nunn. Like I did that intentionally because I'm like, I don't want you to get confused. Cairo didn't direct this, I did. Like
right. So like also with that being said too, it's like, what if your alter ego was evil, and like what evil acts would you do?
Oh,
because like when I think of that, I think of like, I'm like Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb.
Evil Incorporated.
I'm thinking I would be a terrible villain. I would be like always blowing myself up rather than the world. And I also think I would be like Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls, because he always gets stopped. Or like I would be Draco from Kim Possible, because she always stops him. Like I would be the worst villain. I would be like having these big ideas and then end up blowing myself up in the end.
I think I'd be like Harley Quinn. That's the first thing I thought of.
I love that.
Yeah, I'd be a fun villain. Like, I'll get all my girls together. Like, ooh, look at this man who did us wrong, girl. Let's go blow his tires.
Right. I'm here for that.
That's fine. I think it would be Maleficent, because she got that big, I'll just come crash your party and I will air this bitch out at the same time. I'm
oh my God.
No reason.
I respect it.
Just because I can, girl. Just to remind y'all, I am that bitch.
Right.
You know what? There are some villains out there. It's like, I know you're a villain, but like, I get it. Like, you're fun. Like, I get it. Like, you know, there's some villains I'm not mad at.
That's why I was like, I would be a Doofenshmirtz like in an instant, because like you can't ever take him serious. Like in one episode, he was sad because he thought Perry the Platypus was never coming back, and I was like, "Isn't that what you want? Is not to have someone stop you?" But I was like, and then also the fact that he's getting stopped by a platypus.
And Darren, I think you'll be him because if you notice, he gets so excited and he gives away his master plan, and then
He gives the whole thing away.
You would get so excited and be
monologuing.
Exactly. I could do that. I could maybe start singing songs. I could like maybe have like a faulty trap put together every time, so that way, like whenever he gets trapped, he gets out. And then I like reveal my giant plan and he squashes it. I absolutely think that would be me for sure.
Yeah.
Justin.
When you say evil, like, I just think about all the things that like I talk about casually on this podcast.
Yeah.
And like
total world
things that like y'all laugh at, and I'm like, I'm being for real. Like,
and we know you're serious. We know.
I would do these things if I had money and access to things. So like, I feel like I would be like anti-Doofenshmirtz because I would not only be getting things done, but like things done that like people would not.
You know who would be? Justin would be Thanos. That's who he'd be.
Yes.
Right. He would actually get the job done.
I would
this would be Justin. Ready? He just.
And it would be done, and then poof, all the white people are gone. But yeah, and like I don't know where I was at. I was like walking on the track yesterday, and I was just like, like what if I had money to like change the world the way that like I want to. I'm like, it's crazy how all the rich people would just be gone immediately after I had money. Like I would just be like, oh, that's crazy. Elon Musk is dead. That's so sad.
You have no house. You have no house.
Oh my God, your house.
You remind me of the evil villain from the Proud Family movie.
Oh my God.
My name is Carnion. Yeah, that guy.
I was like,
the Peanut Man.
Like,
I mean, you want to take all that shit over with his soldiers.
Right.
I'm very much the villain that I think would like, I think you would view me as villainous until like 5 years after my plan works. And then you realize like, oh, he was trying to do something. So like, I would turn Elon Musk's house into like a homeless shelter.
You'd be like Robin Hood.
You'd be like Killmonger if he actually carried out his plan.
Yeah, and if his plans were not rooted in like hatred for other people and more focused on like actually helping.
Right. And see, Killmonger is one of those villains where like I didn't hate him. Like I understood where he was coming from. Like I didn't hate Killmonger at all. Like I was like, you're actually making a lot of sense. You're just so angry. Like
his execution, his execution was lacking. Yeah, and I feel like as a villain, I would very much be like, no, like these things need to happen for XYZ reasons. And it's like, yeah, I mean, in my plans of like world change, like people die, but not because I don't like them. It's just like, sorry, bro, like collateral damage. It's just wrong place, wrong time. Sorry, I gotta change the world though. So yeah.
So you wouldn't necessarily be a villain. Like you would be a vigilante, right?
I think
or an anti-hero.
I think I would be an anti-hero. I think in the eyes of the public, I would be a bad guy. Because, like, Batman is considered a bad guy to, like, Gotham City. Nobody likes him.
Right.
Even though we recognize as the readers of the comics that, like, and the viewers of the whatever media, like, oh, like, he was doing it for a reason. And, like, what he was doing was, like, generally quite helpful to the community or whatever. I think I would be very much that kind of, like, bad guy where it's, like, ambiguous, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
I just feel like Justin he would be a good villain. The rest of us, you can't take serious. Like,
no. Again, like Harley Quinn, I feel like Harley Quinn didn't have like a goal in mind, a particular one. She just,
really.
I felt like she didn't have a place in the world, and the Joker gave her one, and that's where all that kind of started.
Yeah, I could be Harley Quinn. That'd be fun. I thought it'd be fun to be Harley Quinn for a day. Just take a back to things.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Just to like not have to go and live by the law. Yeah.
Yeah. For a day. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, moving on to our last topic, we're going to talk about our obsessions. I feel like I'm going to just say my obsession for everybody, which is Kehlani's album. Let's just get that out the way.
I haven't listened yet.
I've recently listened to a few songs, actually.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to just sit down and get to listen to it. Not like the last one she dropped.
I've been busy the last few days.
this is why it's good to have cameras so y'all can see the face I be making all the time. Like,
my actual obsession is the reason why I haven't listened to Kehlani's album yet. Like,
well, fine. I'll talk about Kehlani's album. So Kehlani's album is called "It Was Good Until It Wasn't." And first of all, shout out to Kehlani though, because honestly, she's doing the thing in quarantine. She made she released one video for Toxic, like on her MacBook, just playing around, and people really enjoyed it. So literally, she said she bought a desktop, bought the camera, and like shot all the videos and doing all her rollout stuff and all her promotion on while in quarantine, which of course is difficult. So shout out to her for that. You know, promoting her album. Her album is #1 on like Apple, US music, Apple R&B.
Period.
Her album is doing great and on quarantine, which is very hard. So shout out to her for that. And also, it's just a great, great body of work. Of course, like any of Kehlani's music, she bears her heart and soul, which I love, and she kind of just talks about things that she's been going through and all that stuff. So it's a great body of work. I love it. It's not too long. Like, I don't know. People always complain when albums are too short, but I hate when albums are too long. Like, I personally,
same.
If
I would like a good 8 songs rather than like a good 47 than like a bad 47.
Yeah,
So you're talking about Chris Brown.
Yes,
right,
pretty much.
His 37 song album. But no, I think hers is around like 12, 13, which is pretty good. So yeah, it's not too long. It's because I hate people who have like 20 songs. I can't stand it. So you can get through it in one sitting. So yeah, it's pretty good. So my obsession is, of course, Kehlani. It was good until it wasn't. So
I plan on listening to it as I clean the house today. That's why I haven't listened yet.
It's that kind of music. Like, you could vibe, you could do homework, you could do yeah, do it.
So I'm gonna do my obsession now because it's directly linked to Erica's. The reason, if you look on my phone, and I can audio describe this, but if you look on my phone, there are 2 albums that I recently added. One of which is Kehlani's new album, which is whatever it's too long, and then the other of which is an album from Paramore's lead singer Hayley Williams.
Wait, is that new?
It's a new album.
Get that because I like her a lot.
The lead singer of the very famous band Paramore has constructed her first solo debut project entitled Petals for Armor. And it really rattled me. it really did. Now I have always been aware of Paramore's music. I have always listened and enjoyed. I can't consider myself a stan because I didn't start listening to Paramore's music until I was 19, whereas I feel like a lot of people started listening in the 5th grade.
Right.
But I have a great respect for Paramore as a band and their impact on the music industry, whatever. And I was very interested in Hayley Williams debut stuff, solo stuff. I was like, oh, I want to see what this is going to sound like, whatever. What I was not prepared for was number one, as a lyricist, as a songwriter, she's on a different level. Vocally, this girl is singing throughout this entire album and layering harmonies and constructing all these things, and she is producing things as well. And there's all these themes of self-acceptance and self-loathing and guilt and fear of people dying and all these different things. And I had no frame of reference for what a Hayley Williams album was going to sound like. It's small now, even though before it was quite big. Her album rollout, I was not a fan of because she released the album in 3 parts. And the first part came out months ago, before I went to Panama. And I was like, this is nice, whatever. And then I'm thinking, and it was the first part was his album is 15 songs long, 3 parts. Each part is 5 songs. And I was like, okay, after this part 1, I was like, I don't want to hear nothing from you. Don't go away. Don't release nothing else. Because I'm very cognizant of album percentages. So if your album is 15, it's 10 songs long and you release 5 songs before the album comes out,
you've already listened to half the album.
Yeah, and it's okay, it's boring, whatever. And I was like, okay, so as long as she doesn't release any more music, we'll be fine. So she continued to release singles from the album, and then put out part 2, which was another 5 songs, and then put out snippets of part 3 the day before the album came out. And I was like, this is weird.
What's the point? What was the point?
Yeah, and if I was a Hayley Williams like stan, like if I loved Paramore and loved Hayley Williams music like from jump, I would be pissed like as a fan of the music, because I don't like to consume music like that. Like if Frank Ocean came out and was like, I'm gonna release my album broken up into 3 different parts, and you're gonna have heard 66% of the album by the time it comes out, I would have been like, that's really whack. But I would say she bodied this album. Like there is a level of emotional honesty throughout the album that I like was not at all prepared for, and I just like I really have to commend Hayley Williams for like this. This is a brilliant first effort. So yeah, go stream Petals for Armor by Hayley Williams now.
Okay,
nice. I'm definitely listening to that for real.
Yeah, and I like her voice a lot too. But my obsession is, if you guys have ever seen Dead to Me on Netflix. No?
I haven't seen it. I need to watch it though.
Yeah.
So season 1 came out like over the summer, I think last year, and then they just dropped season 2. And it is actually really good. Like watching the first episode, I was like, and then like getting into it, I'm like, dang, this is crazy. Like it's really good. So pretty much the basis of it is this girl's husband is killed in a hit and run accident, and it pretty much shows in the first episode like her going to his funeral with their kids or whatever, and then so, and with that being said, in it or whatever, she befriends this girl after they go to like a meeting. It's not like an AA meeting, but it's a support group for like people who have lost people. She meets this girl. Long story short, to not give anything away, because you find out very soon in the show, you find out that the girl that she befriends is the one that hit her husband in the car. So it is juicy. It is really good. And it's kind of crazy too to also see like that there's more to the story than what, is you first believe. And also like how powerful friendship can be when you find the person that you need to kind of help you through grief. So it's a really good show. I would recommend watching it. The first season had a lot going on. Season 2 was already like going crazy. So I would recommend watching it.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. JoAnn, close us out.
For me, so I love my skincare, and my skincare routine is a facial cleanser and exfoliation. I like to tone my face, use a toner. I follow that up with an essence, and then I use face cream or a mask or something like that. So I got a Fresh thing in the mail, like the brand's name is Fresh, and they had this thing because I ran out of toner, and so they gave me this whole line. I got it as cheaply as I could get it. I found as many coupons as I can, because we don't pay full price over here. Not if I don't have to.
Right.
So I got this thing. It came with a strawberry face wash, and I'm just going to do a review on it, like the whole thing. It came with a face wash, a face mask, a face cream, and it came with a toner. The toner is excellent. I suggest people that don't use toners, y'all should use them. It gets like dirt out of like your pores, like it's a deeper clean with like a cotton pad. So it's really easy to use and everything. And it smells really good. It has rose petals in it. I'm just in love with that. I like the rose face cream. The mask is cute. You don't need to get that. I would just say get the toner. Like, I guess it does something. I would let y'all know in a week how I really feel about it. I guess in an update. Hate the face wash. Don't do that to yourself. I got bamboozled because I like my texture to like be. I use a charcoal face cleanser. I don't know what y'all use, but that works really well for me. I'm not asking you. You're a guy. Y'all don't be caring.
Just use a bar soap, Justin.
No. Right. But no, the face wash has this weird texture. It's a strawberry exfoliating face wash. It sounds bougie. Don't get it. It felt horrible. It smells weird. I didn't like that. But I'd say 3 out of 4. The system's kind of a bop to me. Just use your own face cleanser. Just get the toner if you out.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Period. Skincare. I need to get into skincare more, actually.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
I love how our obsessions are like a review section.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the 5. These are the amount of stars we give for each product.
Mine got a 3.5.
Wow. Well, all right, y'all. That was our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into our virtual sessions, and also thank you for watching us on YouTube. So you can follow us on Instagram at For the Record Podcast, FOUR The Record Podcast, or on Twitter at For the Rec Pod. All of this will be in the description below if you're actually like watching this. So if you don't catch it while I'm saying it, if you're actually watching this on YouTube, it'll be below in the description.
Right.
So.
I'll put the socials in the YouTube description. Are you able to put the description to put things in the description of like the episodes?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I would put our socials in the episode episode description too.
Okay. Yeah, it's so like I don't feel like a YouTuber yet, so it feels weird to be like click the link below or like click in the description box.
Very that.
You know, like I feel so like silly saying that, but yes. So if you want to follow us, either our podcast page or us personally, you can follow us. The description box will be, if you're watching us on YouTube, it'll be the description below. So down here, or if you're listening to us, it'll be in the description in our in the description box. So but yes, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.